Hello, my name is Casey Patterson, and today I will be presenting to you about something that we begin learning about from the time we begin to walk and understand what our parents are telling us, and that is pedestrian road safety. So, the area that we're going to talk about today is actually my hometown, Collinsville, located in Grayson County, Texas. We have a population just under 2,000. We're going to go over some dynamics of the entire town, but then we're going to dive deep into this area right here located on the screen, highlighted in purple. As you can see in the bottom left-hand corner of this photo, there is a school building which hosts students from 6th to 12th grades, currently sitting at around 225 students. To the northeast side of town, located at the top portion of this photo, you can see several streets here on this Google view that don't have any houses currently. If you actually visit the area, there are multiple houses going up right now on these streets that appear blank here, most of which have already sold. Even the lots have sold to families, and this will be developed soon. I know in a larger city this wouldn't seem like a big deal, but in such a small town, adding 30 to 35 additional family homes is a pretty big deal, and a lot of growth. When looking at this town, there's a picture of the welcome sign. As you can see, the town was established in 1890. Great things about a small town include that it's a close-knit community, and it's fairly safe. Most of the crimes here are traffic tickets. Occasionally there's some theft. If a kid leaves their bike out near the road, it may or may not disappear. If you leave tools in the back of your truck overnight, occasionally they might be stolen, some things like that. But overall, most people here do not fear for their physical safety. Some weaknesses, though, that come from a small town include the growing pains that come with not having a lot of money. And what I mean is money as a city. So, there's not very many houses. So there's not a whole lot of tax revenue coming in. This puts us oftentimes behind the ball as far as, there's things that we know we need. We need to improve our roads. We're going to have to upgrade our water system, as it's not going to host a whole lot more than it already does. But the catch-22 here is that we need these homes to be built and the tax dollars to roll in order to have the money to do these things. So as we'll talk about in a moment, I did have a chance to speak with the mayor of the town, someone I already know, but he did reiterate to me that this unfortunately is the biggest struggle that we have. Whenever you look at this photo right here, you're looking at our downtown area, and that vehicle you can see in the middle of the screen there is actually a police car parked right in front of the police station. City Hall is here, a couple small family-owned restaurants, a local hair salon, along with an antique store, or some people will call it the junk store, and a couple real estate offices, along with a couple other, just small family-owned businesses where they just have their offices set up. The area is not heavily trafficked with cars throughout the day. We are able to host some town events here, though. We have a Christmas thing every year in December where Santa shows up and the kids can see him, and some things like that. Overall, the housing here, it's single family homes. We don't have any apartment complexes. There are some duplexes that people rent, but again, those are like 2 and 3 bedrooms with a couple bathrooms, and so it's mostly single families or retired folks that have lived in that same home for a long time. The population here is almost 100% either white, Hispanic, or non-Hispanic people, and most of which have either lived here most of their lives or a very long time, or they've had family that's lived here for a very long time. So there's not yet a whole lot of outsiders, and when there is someone, they're welcomed in, and everybody gets to know them pretty quickly because they're the new folks. The area specifically I want to talk about today is this road situation around the school. So as you can see in this photo, I've notated where the school is located on the left side back there. And then this crosswalk right here, indicated in yellow on the right side of the photo, is where children are supposed to cross this busier street in order to get to the entire south part of town, which is where most of the housing is currently located. So this is not the area where the new houses are being developed, but we're talking about south of that area. So as you can see from this photo, there are no shoulders on these roads. There are no sidewalks. There is not a crossing guard, and this crosswalk is not really well noticeable during the day. I know this picture is a little bit of a cloudier day, but when it's bright outside, it's hard to see. There's no signage. There is a flashing light for the school zone, but not one specifically for this crosswalk photoed here. So to bring you down to a few more photos here, this picture in the top right hand corner is a shot of the ditch. You can see the crosswalk a little bit there, but this ditch is deep. When it's rained, it's muddy, and there is just not a very good way for students to get not only across the first street you saw, but now they have to get over there to even be able to get to the crosswalk to cross the next street. So just not a good setup, not a good situation here. These other two photos, the one to the far left of the screen, you can see the backside of the school and the school parking lot where the students park. So this road runs north and south. So the direction we're looking at it here is going to be running south, back towards what I was just talking about with the ditch situation. And then if you look at the photo in the middle, this is the opposite direction. So if you follow this road on north here, you would be going to that newer development that we talked about at the beginning of the presentation, where all the new homes are going to be built. So there will be more and more students needing to travel this direction as well. And as I've already pointed out, no sidewalks, no shoulders, very narrow roads here for traffic to be coming down, especially construction traffic, and students trying to walk safely to and from school and home. Also, to note here, when researching, obviously we all know that, pedestrian safety is important. But when looking at specific numbers, I chose to look at the CDC's website because I trust, reliability there. And they explained that there are roughly 104,000 pedestrian injuries annually in America. Approximately 8,000 of those result in death. So, even one death is too many for something like this, but 8,000, across the nation, that's a lot. And we don't want to be contributing to this issue or losing students to injury or especially death. So significant to note there, large numbers. So my plan for this, in a dream situation here, I would love to be able to add crosswalks that are appropriate with signage, add some sidewalks, implement a crossing guard from the school. Maybe just an already existing school employee would be great for this. And then also the biggest key here is going to be educating students on pedestrian safety. So we can add these things, but if students don't even know to use them safely or the importance of them, then it's all for nothing. So this is all things that I actually talked to the mayor about. We had our little interview situation, and he acknowledges, he knows that this is a problem. As far as sidewalks and shoulders and, just general space goes on these streets. Something that he wasn't aware of, though, that I brought to his attention was the crosswalk that does exist. He knew there was a crosswalk, and there is another one on down further. If you walk out of the other side of the school, go through the parking lot, you can get to a singular sidewalk that does have a crosswalk for students who are going further to the west side of town. But his daughters actually walk that way, and he had not realized how poor the crosswalk situation is for students going to the southeast side of town. So something I would additionally like to do would be talk to the school administrators about the possibility of adding a crossing guard. I know that they have staff members assigned to watch the parking lot side, both in the mornings and in the afternoons. So I'm interested to know if they would be able to add a person out here who could watch students and help them to safely get across this crosswalk. So in researching some things I found, because like I stated, I believe that the education piece is going to be the most important part of this. If we can teach students safety, we can all assume that your mom teaches you how to safely cross the street when you're 2, but, it's easy for kids to get buried in their phones. They've been in school all day. They're ready to talk to their friends and see what's going on. And so I did find this article that references this concept of heads up, phones down. So it's just an education piece for students, knowing the importance of putting your phones down and being aware of what's going on around you when you're walking, for best practice. And then also, I found an article that addresses proper crosswalk use and sidewalk safety. And really, it's just a piece that explains that, like, simulation type situational, like an education on a computer where a kid can do hands-on learning as far as like a virtual simulation type would be more productive than just a simple lecture and photos. They're going to absorb more if they're actively involved in the learning. So I thought that would be a great thing to bring into the schools, especially for these 6th through 8th grade students that are really mostly walking. They don't drive, and they don't normally pick up rides from older students. They are younger and less mature, and they are more apt to, have problems in this area. So another thing is I notated those deep ditches there. I would love to explain to kids where they need to stand for cars to be able to even see that they are actually there waiting to cross. I think that it would be good to visit city council meetings, speak some more with the mayor, talk to the school administrators like I discussed, and then conduct this education at the school to get some of these things implemented, ideally all. Obviously, barriers are going to be money. That's why I would like for my top priority to be talking with school personnel and educating these students on the safety. For evaluation, we would look at the student knowledge. Doing the virtual situation would allow me to see if kids are understanding the situation. And then we could also talk with parents and see, if they have talked to their kids and what they're thinking, if they're feeling like it's safer when they're picking up other students, if they're noticing any change. Here's a list of the references. Again, I, looked at the CDC website for those numbers on pedestrian safety and injuries and deaths. And then here's the information on the Heads Up Phones Down campaign, and also the interactive education and how effective that is. Thanks for listening.